Batman, the animated series, Season 1, Episode 28, titled Dreams into Darkness. And this is the final episode for Series 1. And I'll tell you something, it is one hell of a way to end a season, because this one's all dealing with inside Batman's psyche. Because in the first 10 episodes, we are in Arkham, and Batman is in a straitjacket. And you're like, how the hell did we got here? I mean, really, how? I mean, it's not images that you normally picture to start with your episode. You're thinking maybe Batman on a rooftop. You're thinking, oh, Batman punching some villain, punching some thugs. Maybe we're introduced to our villain. But not Batman in a straitjacket in Arkham. Normally, Batman throws the inmates into Arkham. And we find out what happens. And turns out Batman's been drugged and he's seeing hallucinations. He knows who he is. It's the Scarecrow, but people don't believe him. Half of Arkham believes him, other half don't, because he's a crazy guy in a bat suit, which he is. And it delves into more of the psychology, and you see all these hallucinations. I mean, you know, immediately the first hallucination is Batman thinks he sees Joker in the Batcave. Turns out it isn't Joker, it's Alfred. He's driving the Batmobile and he thinks Robin is peering out of nowhere and says, "Stop, Bruce, stop!" And makes him crash the Batmobile with these hallucinations, and it's such a really interesting way to go into the psyche. Of course, you have to deal with the parents, and how they deal with the parents about Thomas and Martha is a very creative how you can show the death of the Waynes in a family-friendly adult cartoons that you can show to kids in a very creative way, which is they go to the tunnel turns into a blade, like a normal gun barrel with blood dripping, and then the gun's fire. That was chilling and thrilling, and you know, when Batman sees Thomas and Martha, he runs towards them and trying to catch up, but they don't catch, but he's unable to. So that's gripping and really chilling. And then, of course, he hallucinates not just on Joker, but literally all the villains that we have met. He sees Poison Ivy. He sees Joker again. He sees Scarecrow, who is our villain. He sees Two-Face and Penguin in all shapes and sizes, which I actually thought originally was Clayface, just because like Joker turns into Penguin, but he's like 10 feet tall, and same with Two-Face, and then Two-Face slowly turns into Poison Ivy, and I thought, oh, this has to be Clayface, but I realized, wait, that's not Clayface MO. So it felt like, okay, yeah, obviously this is still in Batman's, hallucinations and stuff like that. And here's the thing, Scarecrow is the villain, but if I had to say this, Scarecrow is not fully developed. And here's the thing, this is one thing I think is sometimes a little bit of pain in the show, is, and maybe it's one of those things where if you're watching it in order, not like watching it on air, and you can start from, you can watch episode 1 to episode 20, and you can know. And basically, here's the thing. I know what Scarecrow looks like in this show, and you don't need to hide it for me. Because they're always trying to hold him into the shadows. But again, they change his look all the time, so maybe they want to say, like, he has a different look. And, he has the same look from Fear of Victory. So, yeah, that's probably a little bit plain. Also, the Scarecrow's element of it is uninteresting, and it's your generic, like, I'm going to gas the city, and it's like, okay, but it's not about that. It's about the psyche of Bruce Wayne, the psyche of Batman, and it's really intriguing, very interesting. And here's the thing, I always say this, like, the best Batman stories are the detective stories, but the second greatest stories are getting into the psyche of Batman. And of course, later when I review the rest of the show with series 2 and 3 and 4, I'm going to probably watch more episodes dealing with that, which will always be an interesting thing to watch.